365 Days of Horsemanship, day 146. A pretty good day again today, actually. I think also just good environmental timing. It's rained today, and so both the herds were sleeping when I got here. And as I kind of mentioned yesterday, that's a really cool time for me and Lawrence to play for sure. And initially when I came up, I couldn't see the herds. I went to get the halter, and I had it in my head that I would do Mia first. I wanted to bring her up to the yard and take her in the arena. But then when I saw they were both resting, I felt that with Mia, she would get irritated if I would try to disturb her resting. Whereas with Lawrence, when he's resting, I find it easier to interact with him. And certainly that's what happened to me the day before. So I came over to him and I worked today on the touching distance again, and it was really interesting and gratifying. Something that Elsa says about repeatability, that if you need, in order to say that you know something, you need to be able to repeat it with the same outcome multiple times. And today I had the same reaction from Lawrence with the ears back and that little reaction when I would try to touch his hind end, just literally like next to his tail. And it was good. It was good to feel that I was like, oh, okay, right, cool, I can work with that. And yeah, I'm moving on the little focus changes. I was thinking a little bit during the session about how maybe I'm training my horses never to do more than the little focus changes if I never wait and push the limits. But I was thinking that maybe a good way to take the next step would be, because there are a few places like his barrel and around his shoulders that I was able to stay for quite some time, and then he would like look with his eye or like a flick of the ear. And so then I would move, and I'm thinking, well, how do I progress that? And I think it's quite good. I think potentially it could work rather than jumping from like eye flick to like expecting a whole category change, which could push him into concern because I could end up staying too long. Maybe it's about then next time waiting until 2 small focus changes and then 3 small focus changes. And then once I've got that, then maybe it will feel less overwhelming for him for me to then wait until a category change. So that felt good. I definitely felt that sort of up along his back and his like dorsal line were the areas that it was like no. And it was really nice to get a no. Like, it's really nice for him just to express himself. Like, obviously I wish the answer was different, but with Lawrence, I think there's so much like freeze and shut down, or there has been historically, that like I'm just grateful for like a clear communication. Like that's all I want, and then I can deal with what I have, and it's like not as easy to get it wrong or have the wrong timing. Like with horses that are very quiet and don't really speak loudly, it can be difficult to understand or know what they want or how they feel about things. And so I'm just really grateful to have his opinion, to be honest. It felt really good. I was able to play again with his hock a little bit today, and he actually rested it 3 or 4 times. And what was really nice is every time today he felt more open to me moving it, which was really cool, because that says to me that if nothing else, it's not getting worse. I'm hoping that means that it's getting better and he is curious enough to let me have it for a little longer. And the last time I was able to like bring his like foot all the way up, like into flexion, and then stretch it all the way forwards, and then do a little bit of like abduction and adduction, which was really good. So I was really happy with that. Waited for him to have a focus change to the herd and left. So all in all, it was good timing throughout. I felt really positive about the session. I went to see Mia and had an interesting session with her. I came in initially and I had this idea that if she wanted to sleep a little longer, that I would do her plats, and that could be like a great time to take natural advantage of that. But it didn't really work out because I think as I was coming down anyway, 2 of the horses sort of ended their sleep, and then my introduction to the herd was just like a lot, and everyone wanted to say hello to me, and there was lots of movement, and I think I just basically kind of woke everybody up, which I think would have happened anyway, reflecting on how things were as I was approaching. So That's okay. I then managed to halter, and I had a really interesting conversation with Elsa last night about clarity in dominant training, and that if I'm doing dominant training, I need to be okay with making her do something in the same way that, you make your kid clean their teeth. Like, they might not want to do it, but you make them do it anyway, and you try your best to find ways to make it more interesting, but you're not going to stop doing it just because they don't want to do it. And it's kind of about like having that confidence and like calm persistence, and saying, yeah, this is what we're doing, this is how it is, this is what's got to be done, and then within that, trying to help them feel better about it. And so that felt good. I was really, I felt really confident coming into the session. And so I halted her, and I basically I just wanted to firstly walk a 20-meter circle, or a 20-foot circle in the field. We're like kind of on a slight incline, and I want to set her up for pole work and hill therapy for fitness. And so I just asked the question, and I tried really hard to be where I needed to be in my own body. And this is something I saw in Pat's clinic actually, about he said something at the beginning of the clinic, something along the lines of that he will never ask anyone to hit their horses. The way that he trains horses is he creates the environment around the horse, and if the horse runs into those obstacles, then it's able to learn more passively. Was kind of like what I got from what he said. Definitely the way he said it was different, and I don't remember the exact wording, but for me that's really what I took from it. And so I really tried hard to set up, instead of like reaching towards the horse in like a predatory way, like reaching towards Mia, in order to like, tap her here or like, put pressure on her there, I just set up like the swing of my rope so that she was going to get in the way. Like my rope is swinging to the diameter or the radius that I want my horse away from me. Like, she's crowding me too much with her shoulder, so I'm just like doing this from where I am. I'm not like leaning forward to attack her. I'm just doing this in a pattern of like, yeah, this is, and so then if she's within that diameter, she's gonna end up putting pressure on herself until she moves. So that felt good. I felt like I was able to use those sort of techniques to have good feel for what to do. And then when she was outside of that, those, like when she was where I needed her to be, just like leave her alone. And so we were able to progressively kind of like, because Elsa also was saying to me about like, if you make the horse do something, you got to be prepared to give them some time to process that and like feel better. And so that was kind of confusing, definitely. I wasn't sure if I should be like stopping when she's feeling better, or like, then how much better is better, and then when do I start again? Do I start when she feels bad, or do I start when she feels good? Like that timing definitely was still confusing for me, for sure. But I think it went well overall, to be honest. Like I just tried to stay really progressive with it, and I would like stop when I felt like she was feeling better, and then I would start again when I felt like she was getting distracted, or I felt like there was like almost like a freeze onto something outside of what we were doing. So like a different focus, like the herd or whatever. And then we would start again, and I just tried to be really progressive, and like every time, like the first like 2 or 3 times I asked for like pretty much the same amount of work before I would, or the same amount of movement before I would stop. And then after that it was like more each time. And then I was getting to a place where I was just walking with her on this circle until I felt like she was feeling good about doing it. And then I would stop while she was feeling good. So yeah, definitely I missed a few moments, and I definitely, my timing definitely needs to be faster, but it felt good. And so then I decided I was gonna walk the fence line, because I felt like, we need a job. Like I really feel like we need a purpose, something that she can understand. And I feel like us checking for mountain lions around the edges of the field is like a good job for us, and we can just walk that line, and I can just work on her being at that same position with me. And yeah, so that felt good. And just as we were like coming down the hill, we must have walked, I don't know, like 100 meters, 200 meters, something like that. She really felt like comfortable and happy in it for a good few strides, and it felt really solid. She had a good expression, and she just seemed like she was happy doing what she was doing. And so I stopped and I took the halter off, and she like looked at me, and she was there with me, and we were still connected. And so then I gave her a scratch, and she was really enjoying that. And then she had some focus changes, so I was moving to different places of flow, like quite close to her, while she was looking around at different things. And then she started sort of walking, but she kind of took me with her, and that was really nice. She looked down to have some grass, and so I started to walk away, and I could see her at the corner of my eye look up towards me, so I stopped. I let her stop me, and then we walked a little bit more together, and she looked at me again, and then looked out at the herd, and then I decided to leave. So it felt good. I felt like I had good timing, and it felt like a really good end to the session. I think I could have stayed longer with her afterwards. I think that I could have just invested some money in the bank account by being in like flow with her, and just eating some grass and doing what she wanted to do. I think that would have been a really good thing for me to do, and I think that that would have really been like the cherry on top of the icing on the cake of like the best possible thing I could think to do. But you know, I wanted to take that moment of good timing. You know, I think plenty of people are successful with the horses without doing that. I don't think it's an essential. I feel really happy that I had the good timing, but I also think, you know, it would have been really great to stay with her and graze until that next focus change, and leave then. Obviously, the thing is, you know, with her, sometimes that focus change can take a really super long time, and she can get really frozen back into grazing. And so if I'm going to decide to do that, I need to be really sure that I have the time to commit, to still leave on a good moment, because I think leaving on a good moment is potentially more important. I mean, it's always contextual anyway, right? But it felt good. I was happy with the session today, which was really nice. I had definitely a wobbly week the last few days, and it's just really nice to feel positive again. So yeah.